We begin with breaking news this morning, and the Vatican has described Pope Francis' condition as critical. It has released a statement saying he is feeling more unwell than the previous day. The Pontiff experienced a prolonged asthma-like respiratory crisis and has undergone a blood transfusion. The prognosis for the Pope remains guarded, but the Vatican says he is alert. Let's hear more from our friends at Sky News UK and their reporter, Lisa Holland.
The signs had not been positive throughout the course of today. I think that early this morning, Vatican watchers were reading between the lines in that over recent days there had been updates which suggested that the Pope had been having breakfast, had been getting out of bed, had been doing work. These were all positive signs. And then first thing this morning, there were just literally 4 or 5 words from the Vatican which said that he had had a restful night. And I think that people who've been following these updates 3 times a day now since the Pope went into hospital on Tuesday with double pneumonia quickly picked up on the fact that there was no comment about him having any breakfast. Vatican sources were pushed on that. They said they couldn't add anything more. Now, clearly, somebody who is too unwell to eat, which is the suggestion, was something which was not, of course, taken positively. Now we have these details coming forward from the Vatican spokesperson that things were not going so well. This word of a blood transfusion, suggesting, of course, that they are not feeling positive or as positive as some of the suggestions were just a few days ago. Now, on Friday, the Pope's doctors gave this news conference at the Gemelli Hospital, where the Pope has been now for over a week, and that they said yesterday that essentially his life was still in danger. They said that he was responding to treatment, but clearly, obviously, throughout the course of today, the Vatican spokesman, again, sort of giving the sense of being very, very concerned, but that actually it's been quite a hard day for the Vatican team monitoring the Pope as to how he's feeling, and just waiting for some details coming through. But just as you say, a blood transfusion and this deep sense of concern now about the Pope's health.
Yeah, and Lisa, let me just give you some of those details that we've had come through. There was a blood test performed on the Pope. He required the application of high-flow oxygen, we are told, having suffered that asthmatic respiratory crisis. The blood tests also revealed thrombocytopenia, which is associated with anemia, the doctor said, which is the reason as to why the Pontiff was then given those blood transfusions. They are reporting that his condition is critical, so worse than yesterday, and very much so not out of danger. Now, you're in the Vatican, Elisa, and I guess that people there have not been made aware of the current situation, but just tell us, are there pilgrims there? Are there people who have gathered for this moment, praying for the Pontiff at this very critical time for him?
Well, I mean, the Vatican and St. Peter's Square is full of pilgrims a lot of the time, because this is a very special year in the Catholic calendar known as a Jubilee year. So there are always pilgrims here. But just picking up on a couple of the points that you were making there, because obviously this information is coming to us as we speak, the fact that the Pope is using high-flow oxygen is not a good sign. We have been specifically asking Vatican sources throughout the course of the week, is the Pope on oxygen? There wasn't much clarity on it throughout the course of the week, and then it became apparent at this news conference yesterday that he was using from time to time what is known as a nasal cannula. So that's a small amount of oxygen which is going through the nose. So now to sort of revert to this high flow oxygen gives you a real sense of the Pope, frankly, struggling to breathe. Now, we know that chest issues have always been his Achilles heel health-wise, in that he lost part of a lung at the age of 21 when he suffered from pleurisy. That was when he was a young man studying as a scientist, but also studying theology as well, when he was living in Buenos Aires in Argentina. Of course, he's an Argentine born in Argentina. So what we're seeing here are these signs of deterioration. And I think, Kamali, that you said that the information that you were getting was that his condition was now described as critical. If that's the case, then that would be for the very first time that the Vatican is using this kind of language. Remember that there was something yesterday at the press conference which was said, which was that he's not at risk of dying. Now, that was a kind of literal translation from Italian to English, and I think that some people sort of saw that as quite a positive sign, but I think if you kind of dig down into that, the translation was the fact that he was stable yesterday, so it would be a departure if the Vatican is now describing his condition as critical.
Catholics have gathered in the Vatican City to pray for the health of Pope Francis. Worshippers have expressed concerns for the Pope's health as his public engagements continue to get cancelled.
I'm just being worried about his health, and I hope he will recover. Definitely, he will. Come back to his health soon. Definitely.